Hello everyone. We wanted to take a moment and say a huge heartfelt thank you for all the amazing support you've given us over the years. With words of encouragement on social media, sharing our content with friends and family, purchasing merchandise, or showing appreciation in the comment section, or simply being patient with us as we figure out a lasting format. With your help, we've been able to do some pretty amazing things for the Iconic community. Even though we've been quiet on social media, we've been super busy behind the scenes, building a solid foundation for the Iconic community. We've written a 600-page book, 25-plus hour audiobook, a script for a feature film, and created a new home for Iconic without social media censorship. We're excited to announce the next chapter at Iconic with the launch of Iconic Plus, your one-stop shop for all Iconic content. Whether films or documentaries, podcasts or shows, merchandise or more, it's all available here only at watchiconicplus.com. Iconic Plus is our new multimedia company over all Iconic content, which produces the Iconic, Cy-Vilan, and God King Father Friend podcasts, as well as the Jeremy Elliott Show, documentaries, and feature films. We are launching with a new eBook and audiobook, website, new merch, and content, with a huge thank you for all those who have been instrumental in making it happen. Our new ebook and audiobook is entitled The Woman Who Rides the Beast. It's over 600 pages and more than 25 plus hours of narration, covering the usual topics of the existence of God, the truth of Christianity, the reality of the New World Order, providing a call to action to get on the right team. In the God Exists section of the book, we cover the necessary background information required to attempt to satisfy the claim that God exists. The book begins with a review of the various theories of knowledge, truth, and worldview critiques. These include agnosticism, skepticism, correspondence and coherence theories of truth, rationalism, experientialism, evidentialism, pragmatism, combinationalism, deflationism, naturalism, physicalism, materialism, the perspectivity view of truth, relativism, rational realism, rational non-realism, non-rational non-realism, actual undeniability, and unaffirmability as tests for truth. This will also include a discussion of the validity of the laws of logic, deductive, inductive, and abductive reasoning. Additionally, it discusses agency and agents, consciousness and self-awareness, mind and brain problems, personhood, and will. These ideas are applied to the modern scientific understanding of the world, the universe, its origin, and our place within it. It reviews ideas of time and its finitude, eternity and the age of the universe, the Big Bang model and the story behind it, the first finite time interval problem, and the necessity of an infinite mind. Here, I seek to demonstrate that an infinite mind exists, residing within a being who is theistic in nature, who is tripersonal, as well as omnipotent, omniscient, omnipresent, eternal, disembodied, immutable, ineffable, able to be apprehended, but is ultimately incomprehensible, laying the necessary groundwork for understanding the context of the next section of the book, Christianity is True. In the next section of the book, I cover the importance of theism and discuss the requirements for the resurrection of Jesus from the dead. The authentication of the New Testament documents define life and death within the context of the resurrection and make a distinction between resurrection and revivification. I will also review the historical methodologies, the multiple early and independent sources for Jesus' resurrection, establish Jesus as a historical figure, discussing his scourging, extreme humiliation, death by crucifixion, the witnesses to his death, and the attestation of his burial. I look into the bodily resurrection of Jesus from the dead, his resurrection appearances, the responses by his enemies, the external veracity of the resurrection accounts, the critical theories against his resurrection, the criteria of authenticity, conversion of James, his half-brother, and Paul, along with early Christian persecution. I investigate the veracity of the New Testament manuscripts, review textual problems, variant readings, and non-professional copyist errors. I will also examine meaningful and viable changes and corruptions to the New Testament manuscripts, including accidental changes, and address the viability and reliability of the New Testament manuscripts. From there, the conclusion is drawn that the text is both true and reliable. Since this is the case, a transition is then made to explaining what the text is saying within its ancient Near Eastern context, beginning with the encrypted messianic profile, the name of God, the Trinity, one being as three persons, and how many minds, wills, and persons Jesus has. From there, I discussed the two powers in heaven doctrine, multiplicity of persons within Yahweh, the identity of the angel of Yahweh, the word of Yahweh, the presence of Yahweh, the name theology, Yahweh as the cloud rider, Jesus as Yahweh, Jesus as the Son of Man, Jesus as Yahweh's messenger, and the messenger of the covenant. I discussed the origin, meaning, purpose, morality, and ultimate destiny of humanity within the biblical framework. I then pivot to the background information required to understand the biblical narrative, beginning with the cast of characters that populate the spiritual world. I detail the beings that existed before our world began, the inhabitants of the spiritual world and its hierarchy, the divine council and its hierarchy of chief princes within Yahweh's divine bureaucracy, throne guardians, chaos creatures, liminal spirits, territorial entities, the gods, the sons of God, the watchers, the heavenly host, the angels and demons, and Jesus as both the Son of God and as the Son of Man. I cover the supernatural bad guys, such as the serpent or the Satan character, Mastaman, the prince of demons, Beliar, and Azazel, the disembodied dead Nephilim or spirits of the dead giants or demons. I cover the creation story of Genesis 1 and discuss the functional ontological context of the ancient Near East. Creation ex nihilo, creation as moving from chaos to order. Yahweh deliberately leaving creation unordered and chaotic. Creation is a house versus a home story. Creation is a cosmic temple. Creation is an ancient inauguration ceremony. Creation as Yahweh's temple. The Sabbath as a memorial to Yahweh as the creator. Rest as rulership and the structure and hierarchy of the nuclear family. I will explain profane versus sacred space. Yahweh siloing his presence to Eden. Eden as Yahweh's cosmic headquarters. The importance of Yahweh's presence and the garden within the context of ancient palaces. I discuss Adam as an archetype, that the human commonly referred to as Adam, his name is not Adam. Adam defined as a population. Adam as an administrator in Yahweh's council and not a glorified gardener. I detail that Adam is created mortal. He has access to the tree of life and to the tree of knowledge of good and evil. Eve is his ontological equal, and that they are both priests serving in sacred space. As priests, I discuss that Adam mediates knowledge and access of Yahweh through meetings within the garden, representing humankind to Yahweh and representing Yahweh to humankind. I explain that this is Jesus' role as the second Adam, as he represents Yahweh to humankind and represents humankind to Yahweh. Additionally, where the first Adam fails, the second Adam, Jesus, succeeds. Furthermore, I look into the rebellion of the fall of the serpent, the rebellion and the fall of Adam and Eve, the rebellion of Azazel and the Watchers, with the daughters of men on Mount Hermon, the divine divination and the corruptibility of humankind, and the proliferation of evil, invoking the flood of Noah. Also, I cover the origin of demons, the punishment of the Watchers, where this story shows up within the New Testament, the Karim or the devotion of destruction for Joshua, the leader of Israel after Moses, to further destroy the giant clans or the offspring of the sons of God. I cover Yahweh disinheriting the nations at Babel, placing additional divine council members over the nations while he specifically works with the ancient Israelites. Moreover, I look into how the divine council members placed over the nations become corrupt and solicit worship from their nations in treasonous rebellion against Yahweh, who judges them and then condemns them to death. I explain that the rebellion frames the rest of the Old Testament as Yahweh and his people, Israel, versus the fallen sons of God and their people, the nations. Next, I explain that Yahweh uses Israel as the vehicle by which he will enter the timeline as a human in order to redeem humanity in the person and work of Jesus Christ. I show that Jesus is the second Yahweh figure in the two powers in heaven doctrine: the Jewish Messiah, the rightful king of Israel, Yahweh's appointed king to rule the entire earth, who is both 100% Yahweh and 100% human. I cover the prophecies for the arrival of Jesus and cover Bashan Bathan, or the place of the serpent, Peter's confession at Caesarea Philippi at the base of Mount Hermon, the reason for Peter's confession, and Jesus' transfiguration only days later, his supernatural enemies surrounding him at his death, and why he cries out, "Forsaken." I detail that Jesus' death provides the re-inauguration of the kingdom of God, the acquittal of humanity's rebellion against God if they believe the gospel, and the removal of the sons of God from their position of authority over the nations. I then transition into the New World Order content as the powers of darkness produce their last-ditch effort to maintain their independence and authority over the nations, how they deceive and mislead humanity to stave off their own execution and defy Yahweh's appointed king, Jesus Christ. In the New World Order is Real section of the book, I provide a review of the New World Order from the biblical perspective. No redemption for Yahweh's supernatural enemies. The New World Order as a Roman imperial power. The New World Order as controlled by Daniel's little horn power. The clay as religion and Nebuchadnezzar's dream. The papacy as the little horn king. When the little horn king takes power. Roman Catholicism as the beast of Daniel 7. When the beast receives a mortal wound, and when this mortal wound is healed. Additionally, I discuss how the little horn king blasphemes Yahweh, thinks to change Yahweh's times and laws, is drunk with the blood of killing the holy ones, and how many deaths are attributable to the little horn king power. I also review and discuss the intelligent supernatural evil behind the little horn king, who the second beast is that arises out of the earth, the woman who rides the beast, and reveal who the Antichrist and the false prophet are. I explain that conspiracy theories distract from the true culprits, that the beast uses Judas Iscariot tactics. The beast creates a religious political counterfeit to Christianity, the birth of the Protestant Reformation, the rise of the Jesuit order as a Roman Catholic covert militia to counter the Reformation and secure Roman spiritual or religious and temporal or political power. I detail that the Protestants identified Rome as the Antichrist. What is happening on our watch? The implementation of the Catholic social doctrine of the common good, Agenda 21, Agenda 2030, Agenda 2050, the Fourth Industrial Revolution, and the reduction of the middle class. I further discuss the global redesign, the Great Reset, depopulation, homosexual promotion, corporate capture of the United Nations, global agendas, the world political authority, climate change rhetoric, the climate clock, the climate debt, the green climate fund, the global warming hoax, the 50 failed climate doomsday prophecies, public-private partnerships, communitarianism, ecological citizenship, and global culture creation. I further expound upon sustainable development, smart growth, 15-minute cities, the demonization of private land use, ECLI, C40 cities, the 10 Green Commandments, pantheism's influence, the Pope's paganism, and attempt to control the Christian and non-Christian worlds through their interfaith unity. I further discussed the de-emphasizing of doctrine, the citing of concordances, crisis creation, the COVID hoax, the problem reaction solution strategy, the world political authority, and Sunday law as its culmination as governments are being circumvented. In the Get on the Right Team section of the book, I provide thoughts on what to do about the New World Order, including how to end our own rebellion against Yahweh, emphasize the importance of repentance, reiterate Yahweh's laws within the context of a suzerain vassal treaty, and how Jesus proclaims the Imago Dei for each of us. I suggest that we resubmit our communicable attributes to Yahweh, define what happens if we reject Yahweh's salvation, clarify the gospel, baptism, the Great Commission, Jesus' joy in redeeming humankind, how we are saved unto good works, that we are the sole benefactors of salvation, and that we can be made priests again and become Jesus' disciples, and sum it all up with my own personal prayer. We are also excited to provide 25 plus archived biblical videos that we think will really help to provide a good understanding, background, overviews, and visuals of more advanced biblical topics to really dial in on the biblical narrative. Iconic is back, and Iconic Plus is now live. The Woman Who Rides the Beast ebook and audiobook, the merch, the archives, the new feature film in the works. It's all a part of a bigger plan to equip, inspire, and challenge each one of us to learn, grow, and awaken our friends and family to the New World Order being implemented on our watch, and to counteract it by spreading the gospel of Jesus Christ. We will still be available on social media and Patreon to release videos, podcasts, announcements, and specials, but ideally, we would like to migrate everyone over to the all-new Iconic Plus platform so that we can operate outside of all of the community guidelines enforced by each platform. Thank you again for all your love, support, and encouragement. We cannot say thank you enough. Please navigate over to watchiconicplus.com and check out the new website, preview the ebook and audiobook, and get prepared for the new content.
Hey there, don't miss out on this epic opportunity to grow your faith, learn how to show that God exists, the truth of Christianity, and the reality of the New World Order by going to watchiconicplus.com and get full access to our new ebook and audiobook entitled The Woman Who Rides the Beast, where the artwork is inspired by the Apostle John's epic vision in Revelation 13. While you're there, check out our collection of Bible videos, archived podcasts, shows, and documentaries. We've also added new merch, including shoes, cups, mugs, and drinkware, pictures and posters, Samsung and iPhone cases, available only at watchiconicplus.com.